Okay, it's time for my first AMA in a long time. I know a lot of you have been asking for it. I've been busy, but here we are. It's the 100k AMA. I didn't mean to rhyme that, but I'm like Harry Mack, but chubbier. I posted over social media on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and my Discord, and we have over 200 questions. So I'm going to do my best to get through the most interesting questions and answers for you. Here we go, starting off with the very first question from my good friend Tyler Lunsford Magic, the cowboy magician. Why are you such a... Magicandcards.com asks, what's your favourite deck of cards? David Blaine, Split Spades, Black and White Lions. Matthew Horowitz asks, I love your Magic, can I please get a follow back? It's on Instagram. Yes, I'm following you back right now. Kevin Abajian says, show us your EDC. You're looking at it. I very often won't even take a deck of cards. I'm like not wearing rubber bands. I'll borrow a coin, but generally my EDC is literally this. For real. Sean Devine asks, when are we doing a YouTube collab? Dude, have your people, speak to my people, and we'll do it today. But I'm 100% down for collabing. I have no idea how we would collab, but let's just figure it out. Chris James asks, favorite season of Love Island? And do you watch Love Island USA? I don't watch Love Island USA. By the way, Love Island's my guilty pleasure. Me and my wife watch it 9 o'clock on a summer night in the house. It's our way of like connecting back together after crazy days. Don't watch Love Island USA, but the best season of Love Island was the one with Maura and Ovi in. Those two were hilarious. But this one's really good as well. Please don't judge me. Instatrix asks, could you please do a detailed tutorial on your membership for the diagonal palm shift? Yeah, I'll do that for you. There we go. In fact, I did see this question when I was screenshotting everything to put them all in my things. And I've shot a diagonal palm shift tutorial that's now available on my Patreon. So you can go and learn it if you're a paid member on there right now. Nia Evans Magic asks, what's your favorite gimmick you've ever made? Probably, there's two for different reasons. Acme Hole is one of them because I just see people doing it all over the world and it blows my mind. I've seen someone doing it on a billboard in Times Square, I think, and there was a magician, they were like showing like a TikTok magician, and he did that and it was on there. Yeah, so and yeah, like there's so many magicians do that. And then the Sharpie through card, it was the first YouTube video and still the biggest video on this channel that's blown up, and it was, I think it's at like 3.5 million views or something ridiculous. And when that blew up, it was like the first affirmation of like, oh, I can do this for real. Like I can make this happen. Tom Gibbons asks, non-magic related, what's your favorite film? Probably the first ever Turtles movie. I love The Dark Knight. I kind of like old school superhero movies. I tend to just watch those over and over again, like the old Val Kilmer Batman, Michael Keaton Batmans. I like Thank You for Smoking. That's a great film. I like some good documentaries out there as well, like Jinx and what's it called? The Guy Who Flew Close to the Sun. I can't remember whatever that name is. The sports documentary is pretty cool too. But anything atmospheric, like I love films that I can put on in the background to create with. So anything with massive atmosphere, like Fight Club, Dune movies are great for stuff like that. Interstellar is great. All the Christopher Nolan films are great. The Prestige is amazing. So those are like, it's like more like categories of films is where I'm at. Lopa Magic says, do you think Magic is still as impactful as it was in 2016? Yes, without a doubt. Magic's been pushed into new boundaries or past boundaries. It's in a new era. More people are seeing Magic than ever before in human history now because of the internet and because of how much it's taken off. That's why the Magic industry is in a golden era. Not for every Magic company, but generally as a whole, it's in a golden era. And I think that people have less interactions or potentially less interactions in the real world as they used to. Like birth rates are dropping considerably around the world. And I think when people see live Magic now, it feels like it's that much more amazing because they're not getting that much like exposure to performing arts done live in front of them, maybe. But yeah, I think it's definitely better than it used to be. Irregular Gentleman's Guide asks, my question's inspired by this thumbnail. Do you have any effects or ideas with a taped up mouth. There are a bunch of different takes on the premise, but I'd love to see where your mind would take it. Best wishes, Daniel Dorian Johnson. Oh man. Yo, Daniel Dorian Johnson is the guy behind the Iceberg A-Can. Go and check out a performance on my channel. It'll be, I'll try and put the link on screen here. He is a genius and one of the nicest people I've ever met. An idea for an effect with a taped up mouth. The only one I've ever seen is Blake Voigt doing a card to mouth with the inside of his mouth. And I've seen some other people do that. Like in the Session Convention, I think someone did it. The first thing that comes to my mind is something which would be quite cool. I don't know. Maybe if you had tape on your mouth and there were staples in the tape, and then you borrow a finger ring, it vanishes, and when you bring the tape off, the fingering has been inside your mouth and it's around the staple as well. Or the other cool thing would be maybe like someone signs the tape on your mouth, right, to verify that it's, you know, not going to be taken off or removed. And whenever you finish the effect, you tear the tape down the middle here, so it's like this, and you say yada yada yada, whatever you need to do, and then as like an offbeat kicker, as you take a bow, you come back up and the tape is healed and it's now still the same signature and it's back together. And there's probably a couple of easy ways you could get that done in a practical sense. So I think that'd be pretty cool to do. What else would there be? I don't know, those are just two ideas off the top of my head. And I'm gonna like be obsessive thinking of this all day. I don't want to derail this AMA. That rhymed. Told you I'm there. Harry Mack of magic. How do you make a product that you can't just like prototype at home and then make it into reality? So Lux is a perfect example of this. I had the idea of it, but no way, shape, or no way at all to make it a reality. I don't do anything with electronics. I had no like micro machinery or anything. So literally I found a person, a couple of different people that had expertise in those fields. And literally, I was just I made like animations on Final Cut Pro of like with like little drawings and stuff of how I wanted it to operate. And then I took Christmas tree lights and a normal light, and I was literally in my kid's nursery in the dark, and I was shining these lights, showing one was a UV pen, one was a Christmas tree light that matched it, and I was shining these lights trying to explain what I wanted to happen. I was on my belly doing it. And then eventually, like, it sort of started to take shape. But yeah, when I couldn't do it, I tried to just aid. I found people that were experts, and I just tried to give them as much source material and share exactly what was going on up here in as many different ways as I could, until eventually everything started to come together. No Setup Magic. One says, how do you come up with these extremely complex gimmicks? It's a good question. Oftentimes by not doing anything, and I don't mean that like as in it just comes to my brain. I mean what I'll do is I'll literally just sit and think about how I'd get there. So quite like trying to figure out each step, and oftentimes it's like a working backwards process. But yeah, I find that say it's like that slow motion pencil through card that I just put up like a week ago or whatever. For that one, I had to think. I in my head, I stopped and I thought about each part of the gimmick. So mainly the first part of the concept, which was the moving white card. And then, well, how could I have any convincers? Well, I'd need the pips to essentially float. Where can I put the pips? I can stick them to the card above it. And then, why is this there? Well, I can't make that. I don't have enough room to move the card back and forth. I'll place the hole on the black hole card further up. And so it's kind of like just thinking of it, then attempting to make one version of it, and looking at all the problems and then refining those problems. But yeah, oftentimes like the complex gimmicks, I'll stop and I'll literally just think about them. And oftentimes I'll be like watching a movie or just listening to music in the background. Lee R asks, what's your all-time favorite Tutorial Tuesday? What's your all-time favorite Fuller episode? And obviously you're a YouTube god. Do you think nowadays there is a place for local magic clubs anymore, with so much available to learn from home, online, and online magic shops? Do you think local magic clubs can survive in the long term? Okay, so favorite Tutorial Tuesday. I love the coin in Tic Tac box because I think the method is super fun super practical and not what you think when you first see it. So it'll be like a little clip on screen. I think that's my favorite tutorial Tuesday. This is a borrowed box of Tic Tacs. There are no slits, no holes, nothing suspicious. Everything can be kept. Watch the borrowed coins and make it visually just like that. Melt straight all the way inside the box of Tic Tacs. And if you were here right now, you could immediately keep everything. Favorite Fooler episode? I love the best trick I've ever created one where I use, I won't spoil it, but you can go back and watch it. It'll be a clip on screen. You can find the name. But yeah, that was like a culmination of years and years and years of work coming down to a one chance performance, so I couldn't get it wrong, and then using it, like everything worked together in synergy to create like this ultimate effect that just destroyed Kaylee. So I think that's my favorite Fooler episode. And then do I think there's a place? There's definitely a place for magic clubs, 100%. You've got to find the right people, the right club. But magic on screen is two-dimensional. I don't just mean physically, but it's only a one-way street, and you need to have people to check your angles when you're practicing slides. You need to get feedback for your material instantly. You need to be able to read the room quite literally whilst you're there. And sometimes you just need to be, we are pack animals by nature. Even if you've got like social anxiety like me, you do need to like sort of be around people to pick up on things that you can't through Zoom and Skype and FaceTime. I know there's a lot of like toxic magic clubs out there, but absolutely finding the right group of people at least. Magic clubs are an essential part. Otherwise, there'll be a globe filled with magicians who thinks that their shit don't stink. And you need magic clubs to go to where people will be honest and give you constructive criticism to make your magic better. And also, being able to critique other people makes you a better magician too. They say like one of the best ways to learn something is to teach something or critique something. So you also need that like two-way discussion going on. So yeah, magic clubs are massively important. Manano2219 asks, would love information on your weight loss journey if you feel comfortable sharing. Either way, you look amazing and I'm glad y'all are happy and successful. Thanks, dude. Yeah, weight loss journey. So the first thing was cutting out alcohol. So I'm completely teetotal, coming up on 3 years, and immediately I lost like 20 pounds. And if you didn't know, I lost like 65 pounds, I think it was, in 3 months, 90 days. But the first thing that I did was, because I work in an office, or my office, my studio here, I don't move as much as most people do in a normal job. So I restricted my calories to 1,200 calories per day, because I really don't get around much other than going for a walk or for a run. So first step was restricting my calories to 1,200 calories a day. And I know the recommended healthy amount by doctors, and you must seek a doctor's advice, is like 1,800 for a man. But for me, really it's 1,200. That's my like healthy amount, because I'm sedentary quite often. And then I took up exercise. So for those 90 days, I was alternating 3 days a week at the gym doing heavy lifting, and then 3 days a week doing cardio. And I was also doing cardio, 1 kilometer runs at the gym to warm up every day. And I've just completely gone to cardio. I much more prefer it. I live by the beach, so I just go for a run every couple of days. I go between half an hour and 1 hour runs a day. And here's a tip, because I am one of those people that I'm not a runner. No matter what you say, like, oh, if you're not a runner, I was not. Like, look at the shit, look at the state on me, what I used to look like. I am one of those people that was not born to run, or so I thought. And so I implemented this golden rule, which was I would just start, and no matter, whenever I got to the point where I couldn't run anymore, I would stop. So for the first week, it was like I could run for like 3 minutes at a chilled pace, and then I'd be out of breath. And as soon as I get to that point where I felt sick, I stopped and walked home. Because the biggest thing with running is that it's psychological. So that if you get to the point where you want to be sick, or you're like dying, and then you keep trying to push and you make yourself worse and worse, you're too scared to go the next time, or you're too like worked up about it. So I thought to myself that like, once I get to the point where I'm exhausted, or like I'm really out of breath, stop and I go home. And I just keep doing that. And I ended up just going and going and going. And after like a couple of weeks, I was doing 5K runs, which is about 3 miles for half an hour straight. And it just built up over time, and I just kept consistent. And really that's it. And then by the end of it, I was doing, not the end of it, but eventually like I would get up at 5 a.m. and just do a half marathon around my town on my own. And it was easy, like really easy, because I was doing it at in heart rate zone 2s, just because I wasn't trying to get fast times. I was trying to do it for just to have a fun hobby where I could go out, not be daunted by it, and just listen to an audiobook and just run or listen to music. But yeah, that was essentially it. And then just be strict with your food. And it's difficult, but I had a good tip for that, which was I love Chinese takeout. So what I would do is I would cook rice and a chicken breast at home, but I would go to my local Chinese takeout and get the sauce, like the curry sauce. And I just literally ate that every day. And then cheat meals once or twice a week, once or twice every fortnight. But really, I can eat the same meal every day. So just rice, chicken, but taking the curry sauce from my local takeaway made it taste exactly like I was having like a cheat meal, but I was actually having like super low calorie, healthy meals every day. Any more questions on that? Like, feel free to ask, and I'll do another AMA, potentially more in depth on it. But yeah, that was essentially my weight loss journey. JRW Magic asks, a bit of a confusing one. Out of all the effects you perform, what one do you like the least? What a good question. Okay, so I have a trick that I'm more embarrassed that I perform it, but only for being judged by other magicians. But I love the Omni Deck. It's actually one of the more. It's actually the only trick I probably do that has the potential for lay people to say they've seen it before. But so far, 35 years old, nobody has ever said they've seen it done before to me. But it's the Omni Deck, and the only reason, it literally destroys people's brains and it breaks down the world around them when it's done. The only reason I don't like it is because other magicians say they hate it when other magicians perform the Omni Deck, and I see so many magicians perform it in like wedding gigs. So I hate it because it's such a popular thing, and other magicians say they hate it too. But that's the effect that I do that I'm most ashamed of. But Sean Farquhar, it's the best. It's the best for me. It gets the best reactions, or there's a reason why I do it. There's a reason why I do it. It's amazing. Sean Farquhar, you're a god amongst men. And I only say I don't like it because it's so damn good and so many people do it. Ophir asks, or KOK asks, does Thomas like magic? Yes, he loves magic. He's 3 now, and we spent about an hour yesterday sitting in the bedroom practicing coin vanishes, and he's getting them down, and he's at the point where he understands it, like I was saying earlier. And so things like if I ask him to pick cards that he likes the look of, so I'll show him, like he'll pick up maybe like a queen or a jack, and then I say to him like, hold your hand out for me, and I'll place it in, and I'll say, shake your hand, and when he turns it over and it's changed, he freaks out. And like visual things, even just like a paintbrush change or whatever, I don't know, he just loves seeing it and experiencing it and practicing it. Yeah, he loves it. Loves it.
I got the queen.
You like it? You want to change it back?
Yeah.
Okay, watch the queen.
That means I was so excited.
That's super cool. Do you want to see it change back?
No.
Watch this.
I did.
Shall I make it change when I wave my hand over it?
Yeah.
Watch. Here we go. Watch the queen. It's real. You want to try it too?
Oh, it's no more magic.
Watch. Wave over it then. Ready?
There's no more hand magic.
See the Joker. Watch the Joker. Place your hand on top of the Joker like this. Go. Ready?
Double-headed.
Yeah. It doesn't last long because she changes back.
I got the queen.
Do you like it? You want to change it back?
Yeah.
Okay. Watch the queen.
That means I was so excited.
That's super cool. Do you want to see it change back?
No.
Watch this.
Double-headed.
Shall I make it change when I wave my hand over it?
Yeah.
Watch. Here we go. Watch the queen. It's real. You want to try it too?
Oh, it's no more magic.
Watch. Wave over it then. Ready?
There's no more hand magic.
See the Joker. Watch the Joker. Place your hand on top of the Joker like this. Go. Ready?
double-headed.
Yeah, it doesn't last long because she changes back.
Macho Marking asks, what are your top 5 gambling magic tricks? I don't like gambling magic tricks at all. There's very rarely, for me at least, a time and a place where that stuff works. It would only really work when I'm with someone who's interested in gambling. But there are some great gambling methods that I use, or gambling trick methods that I use to perform magic effects. The one that stands out the most is the 10-card poker deal. I love that. I love that method. I love I think it's the Paul Gordon method that I use for the 10-card poker deal. Phenomenal trick, but I use it more in a magic sense. But yeah, for me, I really don't try to show that I have any skill whatsoever with a deck of cards, other than being able to shuffle and have general proficiency. I don't want to show people that I can second deal, bottom deal, do passes and stuff. I try and hide that more than anything. So I don't really have any favorite gambling type tricks. I remember at like a dinner party years ago, somebody was super interested in gambling stuff, so I just faro stacked the aces, dealt them the aces, did some gambling things, and I think I ended up with a deck in new deck order, and that blew them away. It worked really well. I just didn't enjoy it, but they loved it. But that's kind of where I'm at with it, and I hope that doesn't offend anyone. Randall Harter, simple questions, but it puts everything into perspective. How many packs of cards do you run through during the concept phase of developing a gaff? Once it's developed, how many hours of practice do you put in before you show it off? And how many revisions do you make after practicing? So for me, I'll generally run through, it's not even a deck. Each gaff, I'm every deck that I use will last me around 2 to 3 months. Literally, I'll use the same deck for months and months on end. You'll see a lot of the decks that I use in Tutorial Tuesdays, or not Tutorial Tuesdays if I'm cutting them up, but just in general, in my performance videos and the Patreon videos, will be the same deck. So a deck will last me months and months and months. In terms of gaffs, I'll tend to buy like one-way force decks and use 3 or 4 or 5, depending on the gaff, before I get the gaff down. I hate wasting stuff. So there's that. And then in terms of practice, normally once the gaff's made, because I've been doing it so long, probably about 20 minutes before it's filmed and you see it in the Tutorial Tuesday videos. In terms of live performances with gaffs, about the same. Once I've got it down, it's more about figuring out the most organic way to switch the gaffs in or out, or making them end clean. And again, that takes not too long because there's only so many ways to skin a cat. So probably about that. But I don't like waste. I try and reuse a lot of things. TV One Turn On, I think, says, what music do you enjoy listening to? So it's a massive, everyone says, oh, it's such a variation of music, a wide variation. Realistically, I'm going back through a Portishead phase at the minute. I love hip hop. Hip hop, probably like 75% of my music. And then I love Queen. I'm a huge Queen fan. Queen, AC/DC. I was born to Queen. Stereophonics, love Stereophonics, which is rock or indie rock. Huge Eminem fan. What was I listening to this morning? My morning walk was Nas. Nas is probably my first hip hop love. What else is it? And then I like I don't know, the Lost Boys soundtrack. But I could go on and on and on. I'm trying to think there's music. It depends on the situation that I'm in. You know, so like if I'm going for a run, it'll be hip hop or rock. If I'm vibing and I'm creating, it'll be like atmospheric stuff. So Portishead, Massive Attack, just general like trip hop and acid jazz type of things. And then there's times where I just love a bit of like drum and bass, and you know, you just want to go crazy and blast it out in the car. I'm trying to think, is there anything like that would shock people? Ludwig Einaudi, kind of like into him and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm trying to think, is there anything funny I listen to? That's pretty much my music taste. Kian Lafford Magic asks, any hobbies aside from magic? Do they influence your magic? So my hobbies changed so much over the years. So hobbies outside of magic. I love running. Running's a big hobby. I live by the beach. I'll always live by the beach. I like surfing. I like stand-up paddleboarding. Just generally like being in the ocean. I love going for like massive long hikes and walks. Reading. I love, like I've spoken about this a few times. Love reading. I love skating. Aggressive inline blading was my thing for years and years. I just bought a new pair of skates. Gonna throw myself down some ramps. I tell you what I do love is the process of making videos and photography. I've done a lot of I live in like a part of the world where we get like these crazy like 100-foot waves that crash over like the lighthouses and the rocks, and I often do like photography of that. I had a photo like win awards and go viral, and I don't really talk about it much on my magic channels. I just love video filmmaking. I've made like just general videos outside of magic, just edits of like drone stuff. When we get this new house, I'm actually starting a renovation channel with Kaylee, and we're gonna document the whole process of renovating the house, because one of my hobbies is housing. Literally like my favorite thing in the world. I love renovating houses. It's something I've always been obsessed with, and if I wasn't in magic, it would be property and renovations that I'd be doing full time. And we're going to be doing a channel for that, so keep an eye out, and I'll link you guys to it when it comes up. But yeah, that's kind of like what my world revolves around in terms of hobbies. Manyeo asks another question: what's the longest / shortest time it's taken you to really think of a trick to the first performance? So longest is probably, let me think on the longest one, but almost all of the tricks on my tutorial Tuesdays, I'd say 95% of them are created on the morning. So I'll sit down, I'll put the camera up, I'll get my crafting kit out, and I'll think, okay, like what should I do? And then I just experiment with a couple of different ideas, and then it comes together, and then I film it about an hour later. So I mean, almost every trick you've ever seen taught by me on this channel is created about half an hour before it's filmed. So I think that's fairly fast. Oftentimes with Kaylee being in the house, I can test out simple card tricks or coin tricks, or some gimmicks that I quickly throw together within the first, minute of thinking of them. I'm fortunate in a way, or maybe not fortunate, it's more of like, because I've been doing it for so long, in that it's more difficult to think of the plot. So it's like, what type of trick shall I create? Like, would it be a pencil through bill? Would it be a coin in glass? Like that, it takes me longer to think of what the topic is than what it does for the method. So normally, as soon as like I think of whatever the plot line is going to be, the plot is going to be the trick, then I think of the method. And because I have so much like sort of existing knowledge of what exists out there and what I don't like about those whatever the trick is. If I've seen someone do a coin and bottle, I run through my head of all the coin and bottles I see, and I pick apart what I don't like about them, or how I think they should look in 2024, like to be better. And then the method sort of fills itself in for me. It's really hard to explain, and it doesn't always work like that, but generally that's the way it goes down. So oftentimes it can be, very, very fast. The longest types of tricks would be something like a Lux, where I had the idea looking up at a shooting star, and then I had to go to work making this thing a reality, finding out the method to get it going. And I'm trying to think, what's the longest trick? There was actually a trick that I'd been planning since I met Kaylee, and it was a Psych Force A-can with a blank deck. So it's basically, she had a deck of cards in hand. I had to think of a card, think of a number, she deals down, that card's exactly at the number, and the deck was blank. And that was like 5 years I was planning it, literally, because, well, it wasn't just to fool Kaylee, but I had the idea for the effect around the time I met her. And then it got to the point where I thought it was perfect, and because I only get to film things with her once, because it can't be faked, I filmed it on her, and it went wrong, and I exposed the whole secret. So that was like a five-year period of time, and it went wrong, and I don't get a second chance at that until I completely change the method up. So the good with the bad. Slight_beginner says, what's the single best piece of advice you've received in the last couple of years? The single best piece of advice, well, there's a couple, but one of them was to cut toxic people out of my life, so I did. And my life it went from there to where I am today. And that was literally because I cut out toxic people, literally. I didn't mean to cut, literally, but quite, what's the word, metaphorically cut them out. But yeah, best thing I ever did. And then the other one is that you'll only have 95% of people like what you do. There will always be 5% of people that hate it, no matter what it is. And once I learned that was like eye-opening, and I can see it across everyone, every person that's making, sharing, creating anything. You can see it everywhere, and so that helped me, you know, in that aspect. And then the other piece of advice was just about the fear of perfection, or the perfection complex, whatever it is, where people say, I'm going to start a YouTube channel tomorrow, I just need to do X, Y, Z first. Because I was that person as well. And the advice was just shut the fuck up and do it. Otherwise you'll never do it. So I followed the advice, and it got me here. And there's so many people, like, I'll know if someone says to me, I'm going to like start a YouTube channel, I'll say, great. What time are you going to start recording today? And then if they tell me a bunch of excuses on why it's going to come next week, I know they're going to fail. And so, yeah, those people, and it's not their fault, you know, it could just be that they're not actually serious about doing something like that, or whatever it is they're going to do. But the best piece of advice, and I try and apply it to anything I'm serious about, is to just fucking do it. Like, now, don't worry about how poor it is. You know, you're always going to get better no matter what. The first tutorials I filmed on this channel, when I started taking it like more seriously, so like 2.5 years ago, we filmed on an iPhone 11 Pro, set it up with a ring light from Amazon for like £7, a makeshift tripod, and I edited it on my phone. And I think you can see like the first few things, like I remember that cut or the cross, you can see them on the channel from like 2.5 years ago. They were shot on a phone, and I didn't care about the quality, it was just about getting it done. Woo! That was as many questions as my tiny brain can handle for today. I'm sorry I didn't answer them all. There's so many left to get through. But hopefully, if you guys want to see another AMA, let me know down in the comments below. I want to get into a discussion with you guys in the comments below about anything we talked about today, or anything more you want to know about in the next AMA video coming up. But if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, because we're coming back with another tutorial very, very soon. Peace.